from understanding to speaking, how to finally start talking in English. So many English learners understand everything they hear, but still struggle to speak fluently. Why does this happen? In this episode, we'll explore the real reasons behind this silent barrier and show you exactly how to break it. Whether you're a beginner stuck in the silent zone or an advanced learner trying to express thoughts more easily, this podcast is your guide from passive understanding to active speaking. Let's begin the transformation. Part 1. The silent struggle. Understanding but not speaking. For many learners, understanding English is not the problem. They can watch movies, listen to podcasts, and even read books with ease. Yet, when it comes time to speak, everything freezes. Words disappear. Sentences collapse. The mind goes blank. This is the silent struggle, the painful experience of having knowledge but being unable to express it. It's frustrating, embarrassing, and often leads people to believe they are just not good at languages. But the truth is far more hopeful. Speaking and understanding are not the same skill, and with the right method, anyone can go from silence to speech. Language learning is often treated as a single skill, but it is actually a collection of skills. Listening, reading, writing, speaking, vocabulary building, grammar, pronunciation, and more. And just like you wouldn't expect to get stronger legs by reading about running, you can't expect to become a fluent speaker by only listening or reading. Speaking requires speaking. It's a muscle that must be trained. If it's never used, it will stay weak, no matter how much knowledge you have in your head. Many learners spend years consuming English without producing it. They binge-watch English shows, listen to native speakers on YouTube, and scroll through English posts on social media. They believe that eventually, one magical day, all the English they've absorbed will just come out smoothly. But that day never comes, not without intentional speaking practice. Understanding is a passive skill. Speaking is an active one. The bridge between the two is practice, not time. One of the biggest myths in language learning is that you can absorb a language like a baby. While immersion is powerful, adults do not learn the same way babies do. Babies are immersed in their native language environment 24/7 for years before they begin speaking. Adults, on the other hand, have responsibilities, limited time, and usually no one to talk to in English every day. So waiting to speak naturally, like a baby, is a trap. You have to take control of your own speaking journey. Another silent trap is perfectionism. Many learners don't speak because they are afraid of making mistakes. They think if they can't speak perfectly, they shouldn't speak at all. They fear being judged, sounding foolish, or forgetting a word mid-sentence. But this fear kills progress. Mistakes are not just part of learning. They are essential to learning. Every fluent speaker was once a beginner who made hundreds of mistakes. Fluency is built on top of mistakes, not in the absence of them. There is also the problem of passive vocabulary. This means you know a word when you hear it, but you can't use it when you speak. It's like having a tool in your toolbox but not knowing how to use it. Your brain recognizes the tool, but your hands don't know how to handle it. The only way to convert passive vocabulary into active vocabulary is by using it. In speech, in writing, in conversation. Repetition and real-world usage are the keys. The silent phase, where learners understand everything but speak nothing, is normal, but it must be temporary. It's a stage, not a destination. If you stay silent for too long, it becomes a habit. You get comfortable being quiet. You convince yourself that you're studying, even though you're just listening. But fluency doesn't come from comfort. It comes from stretching, pushing, practicing, even when it feels awkward. To move forward, you need to create speaking opportunities, even if they feel artificial at first. Talking to yourself in English is one of the simplest and most powerful habits you can start today. Describe your actions. Speak your thoughts out loud. Narrate your day. Ask yourself questions and answer them. It may feel strange, but it trains your brain to produce language actively. Another powerful tool is shadowing. Shadowing is the practice of repeating what you hear in real time, mimicking native speakers. It helps with pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence. Pick a short video or podcast. Play a sentence. Pause. Repeat it aloud, and continue. This forces your brain to connect listening and speaking, a crucial bridge to fluency. It's also essential to practice with your voice, not just in your head. Silent reading, imagining conversations, and internal dialogue are helpful, but they don't strengthen your vocal muscles. Speaking is physical. You have to feel the words in your mouth, hear them in your ears, and let your body get used to forming English sounds. That's why reading aloud, repeating phrases, and recording yourself are powerful exercises. Lack of feedback can also keep you silent. If you don't know whether your pronunciation or sentence structure is correct, you may lose confidence. This is where language exchange partners, tutors, or even AI speaking tools can help. You don't need a perfect coach. You just need someone, or something, to talk to. The goal is not perfection, it's communication. Too many learners wait until they feel ready to speak. But readiness is a myth. You don't wait until you're fit to go to the gym. You go to the gym to get fit. The same is true for speaking. You speak to become fluent. You don't wait to be fluent to speak. Creating a daily speaking habit is the best gift you can give your English journey. Start small, 5 minutes a day. Talk to yourself, record your voice, mimic videos. Consistency matters more than intensity. 1 minute of daily speaking is better than 1 hour of silence followed by a burst of talking once a week. By breaking the silence, little by little, you rewire your brain to connect knowledge with speech. It's not about genius. It's about practice. It's not about memory. It's about muscle. And every day you speak, you become stronger. Part 2. Turning passive English into active speaking power. The first major step toward becoming a confident English speaker is understanding the nature of your own passive knowledge. You've likely spent months, if not years, absorbing English through videos, songs, podcasts, textbooks, and conversations. But this passive knowledge, while valuable, is like an untapped reservoir. It sits there quietly, waiting to be used. Until you activate it through regular, intentional speaking, it remains locked away. The goal now is to unlock it. The process begins with awareness. Begin to notice the words and phrases you hear often but never say. Keep a small notebook or a digital note on your phone. Whenever you hear a phrase like, "I guess so," "I'm not sure," or "let me think," and you realize you never use it yourself, write it down. These are golden phrases that native speakers use constantly. They're the glue of everyday speech, and learning to use them gives your speaking a natural rhythm. After collecting phrases, the next step is imitation. Repetition alone isn't enough. You must imitate. Imitation means copying the sound, rhythm, emotion, and even body language of native speakers. Find short clips from your favorite series or YouTube videos. Watch and listen carefully. Then pause, rewind, and say the sentence out loud. Try to match the tone and pace exactly. Don't worry if it feels silly. This is how children learn. This is how actors train. And this is how your brain begins to map real, usable speech patterns. One underestimated method is using voice recording. Record yourself speaking English every day, even for 1 minute. Talk about your plans for the day, what you ate, or something interesting you learned. Then play it back and listen carefully. Do you hesitate? Do you translate in your head? Are there words you wish you knew how to say? This kind of self-feedback is powerful. It exposes your weak points and helps you fix them much faster than guessing. A great trick is using role play. Pretend you're ordering coffee at a cafe, checking in at an airport, or having a job interview. Speak both parts. Create realistic dialogues. If possible, write them out first, then speak them out loud. The more you engage your imagination, the more your brain builds useful connections. You're not just memorizing, you're preparing for real situations. The mirror technique is also valuable. Stand in front of a mirror and talk to yourself. Watch your face, your lips, your eyes. This builds not only pronunciation and fluency, but confidence too. You're practicing being seen and heard in English. At first, it may feel awkward, but over time, it becomes empowering. You start owning the language, not just studying it. Another key strategy is slowing down your thoughts. One reason many learners freeze when speaking is because they try to speak at the same speed they think in their native language. Slow down. Give your brain time to find the right words. Speak deliberately. Use simple phrases. You don't need complicated grammar or big vocabulary to communicate effectively. Clarity beats complexity every time. It's also essential to build a toolbox of go-to phrases, short expressions you can use to buy time or express yourself easily. Examples include, "That's a good question. Let me think about that. I've never thought about it that way." Or, "It depends." These are conversation tools. They fill the silence, give you time to think, and make you sound more fluent than you feel. Practice speaking around specific topics. Pick a theme for the day: travel, food, hobbies, your favorite movie, or a recent news event. Then try to talk about it for 5 minutes. Use a timer. Try to include new words. Don't worry about mistakes. Focus on flow. This method is better than random speaking because it gives your brain a clear focus and helps build vocabulary and context. Another practical method is to speak English while doing daily tasks. For example, while cooking, explain what you're doing out loud. "Now I'm chopping the onions. I'm adding salt. This smells amazing." This turns passive routines into active language practice. You're not finding extra time. You're transforming existing time into learning time. Engaging with community helps too. If you can, join English speaking clubs, online voice chats, or language exchange platforms. Even 10-minute conversations once a week can make a huge difference. The goal is not to impress others. It's to train yourself. Every awkward moment is a stepping stone toward fluency. When you feel stuck, try paraphrasing. If you don't know a word, explain it in another way. For example, if you forget the word refrigerator, you can say, "the machine that keeps food cold." This teaches you flexibility and keeps conversations flowing even when vocabulary fails. Use your mistakes as teachers. After a conversation or recording, write down things you struggled with. Maybe you said, "He don't like it," instead of, "He doesn't like it," or you forgot how to pronounce vegetables. These small observations are pure gold. They show exactly what to improve, and every correction brings you closer to fluency. Track your progress. Keep a journal of your speaking practice. Note what you talked about, how long you spoke, and how you felt. Over time, you'll notice improvement. Maybe you spoke for 30 seconds the first week, then 2 minutes the next. These small wins are signs of growth. Celebrate them. Let them motivate you to keep going. Most importantly, remove pressure. You're not giving a TED Talk. You're not writing a university essay. You're practicing communication. Let your English be messy, human, alive. Fluency is not perfection. It's comfort, confidence, and connection. And you get there by showing up every day and daring to speak. With the right habits, tools, and mindset, you can absolutely transform from a silent understander into a confident speaker. The journey is not magical. It's mechanical. It works if you work it. Once you've accepted that active speaking requires intentional effort, you can begin to design an environment that naturally encourages daily spoken English. This doesn't mean moving to an English-speaking country or finding a tutor immediately. It means creating conditions where speaking becomes as natural as brushing your teeth. Just like any habit, the more friction you remove, the easier it becomes. For example, set a reminder on your phone that says "Speak English for 5 minutes every morning after breakfast." Keep it small and consistent. Your brain loves repetition more than ambition. It also helps to create visual triggers. If you place sticky notes around your house with phrases like, "Describe this room in English," or "Say what you're doing," your environment itself becomes a teacher. Imagine walking into the kitchen and seeing a note that says, "Talk about your favorite recipe." You pause, you think, and you speak. This adds purpose to your environment and turns your surroundings into a language lab. Listening and speaking go hand in hand. When you listen actively, you're not just hearing words, you're collecting tools. Try shadowing exercises, where you repeat exactly what you hear in real time. This builds rhythm, pronunciation, and speed. It might feel fast and overwhelming at first, but over time, your mouth begins to catch up with your mind. Even if you can only shadow a few seconds at a time, you're training fluency in real-world tempo. A technique many language coaches recommend is the retell method. After listening to a podcast, watching a video, or reading an article in English, retell it in your own words. First, try writing a short summary, then speak it out loud without looking. This forces your brain to recall and structure English from memory. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. The point is to engage with what you've heard, rather than letting it passively wash over you. Another powerful technique is output before input. Most learners rely too much on input, believing that more listening and reading will eventually lead to speaking. But often, the opposite approach is more effective. Start your day with a speaking challenge. Describe your dream vacation, talk about a historical figure you admire, or give your opinion on a movie. This activates your English center and makes your brain hungry for the words it lacks. Then, when you listen or read later in the day, those missing words stand out more. Building momentum is crucial. One good speaking session creates confidence for the next. That's why it's important to keep a record of your achievements. Did you have a 3-minute conversation with a stranger online? Did you explain your weekend plans to your reflection in the mirror? Write it down. Confidence is not something you magically find. It's something you build, brick by brick, with proof. Don't underestimate the power of background speaking. Try talking to yourself quietly while walking, doing chores, or waiting in line. It doesn't have to be loud or perfect. Just keep the English flowing. For example, in the morning. Okay, today I need to go shopping. I'll get some bread, maybe cheese. Then I'll finish that email. This running monologue turns everyday silence into practice time. Use music as a speaking tool. Sing along with English songs. Then pause and speak the lyrics as if you're saying them in conversation. Many song lyrics are poetic or emotional, and practicing them gives your speech expression and tone. It also improves your ear for rhythm, which is essential for sounding natural. Storytelling is another hidden gem. Choose a simple personal story, a childhood memory, a funny moment, a lesson learned, and practice telling it in English. First, write it. Then memorize the main points. Then speak it aloud. You can even record yourself and improve it over time. Stories are how humans connect, and being able to share a story fluently is one of the highest signs of true language mastery. If possible, create an English zone in your home, a place where you only speak, listen, or read in English. It could be a small corner with a notebook, a headset, and a few inspirational quotes. This physical space helps mentally separate your learning time from your native language. When you sit there, your brain knows, it's English time now. You also need to work on your mindset. The fear of sounding foolish is a major block, but here's a secret. Everyone sounds silly when learning. Babies do, tourists do, even native speakers fumble sometimes. The key is not to avoid mistakes. It's to expect them, welcome them, and move on. Every mistake is a sign that you're pushing your limits. Reframe your goal. Instead of aiming to speak perfect English, aim to communicate clearly and confidently. That means slowing down when needed, using body language, rephrasing things, and showing that you care about being understood. Language is not a test. It's a bridge. It connects you to people, ideas, and the world. To stay motivated, connect your speaking goals to your personal passions. Love photography? Describe your favorite shots in English. Interested in fitness? Talk about your workouts or nutrition tips. Into gaming? Try explaining game mechanics in English. The more personal the content, the more engaged your brain becomes. You're not just practicing language, you're practicing self-expression. Try English journaling too. Every night, write a few sentences about your day. Then read them aloud. This builds reflection, structure, and vocabulary. Over time, your journal becomes a record of your progress and a reminder of how far you've come. Find an accountability partner, someone who's also learning, or even a friend who supports you. Share your goals. Maybe you both commit to sending a 1-minute voice message every day. Encouragement and accountability multiply your results. You're no longer alone in your journey. Finally, embrace your identity as an English speaker. Not someday. Now, you don't need a certificate, a passport, or a perfect accent. If you speak English, even a little, you are an English speaker. Tell yourself this: believe it. Because confidence doesn't come from waiting until you're ready. It comes from deciding you're already enough. Your voice matters. Your words have power. The more you speak, the more you discover your own rhythm, your own style, your own voice in English. You're not just learning a language. You're learning to express who you are. And that is the most beautiful goal of all. Part 3. From understanding to speaking, how to finally start talking in English. Another powerful technique that has transformed many learners into confident speakers is shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a native speaker and immediately repeating what they say, mimicking the pronunciation, rhythm, and tone in real time. This technique doesn't just improve your speaking skills, it rewires your brain to process and produce English simultaneously. At first, it might feel difficult or even embarrassing. But over time, it helps you internalize the natural flow of English. Start with slow, clear recordings and gradually challenge yourself with more complex and faster content. Even 5 minutes a day can make a difference. Now let's talk about storytelling. Storytelling is one of the most human ways of connecting through language. When you learn to tell even simple stories in English, you begin to think in English. This builds coherence, narrative flow, and vocabulary naturally. Start by telling personal stories from your day, what you did in the morning, something that made you laugh, or a small challenge you faced. Don't worry about mistakes. Speak freely and let the words come. You can even record these short stories and listen back to notice how your fluency evolves over time. Another highly practical strategy is imitation exercises. Choose a short video clip or a movie scene and try to imitate the way the actors speak. This includes not just the words, but the tone, body language, and even emotional delivery. This holistic imitation builds intuitive understanding and emotional expression in your speech. Don't just learn the sentence, become the character. Many language coaches call this stepping into English. When you do this regularly, you stop translating and start living the language. Environment plays a major role in speaking fluency. Surround yourself with English sounds, conversations, and content. Keep English music playing in the background. Listen to English podcasts while walking. Read aloud when you study. Speak your thoughts in English when alone. Create an immersive micro-environment that feeds your brain the sounds it needs to reproduce. Speaking fluently doesn't come from memorizing vocabulary lists. It comes from being immersed in English and responding with your own voice. It's also crucial to address the fear of making mistakes. Many learners are terrified of sounding wrong, mispronouncing words, or being laughed at. But the truth is, every fluent speaker made countless mistakes. Mistakes are not failures, they are steps toward fluency. Instead of fearing them, start celebrating them. Make a mistake journal. Write down funny or awkward errors and reflect on what you learned from each. This positive mindset turns fear into fuel. Another essential mindset shift is to stop comparing your English to others. Your voice, your accent, your story, it's unique. Native-like pronunciation is not the goal. Clear communication is. As long as your listener understands you, you are succeeding. Comparison kills motivation. Confidence comes from progress, not perfection. Celebrate every improvement, no matter how small. Let's now talk about daily routines that support speaking. Dedicate a fixed time each day to speak out loud in English. This can be your morning routine. speaking while brushing your teeth, making coffee, or looking in the mirror. You can say your plans for the day, describe your feelings, or review what you learned yesterday. Speaking out loud, even to yourself, is powerful. It activates muscle memory, reinforces vocabulary, and builds spontaneous fluency. To further improve your speaking, start using vocabulary notebooks creatively. Instead of just writing definitions, create mini dialogues using the new words. Then speak those dialogues out loud. This makes vocabulary meaningful and memorable. You can also use language apps with speech recognition to get instant feedback. But remember, no app replaces the value of actual speaking. Practice must go beyond clicking buttons. It must involve your voice. A hidden barrier to speaking is internal pressure. The need to speak perfectly, to sound intelligent, or to impress others often paralyzes learners. The solution is simple. Speak to express, not impress. Focus on connection, not correction. When you let go of pressure, you become more fluid, more natural, and more joyful in your communication. Community is another great support. Join online speaking groups, attend virtual language exchanges, or even find a conversation partner on language learning platforms. Consistent interaction with real people keeps you accountable and motivated. You'll also learn colloquial expressions and real-world phrases that textbooks don't teach. Community adds the emotional context that boosts memory and engagement. Even your phone can become your speaking coach. Change your assistant language to English. Ask questions out loud. Use voice notes instead of texts when chatting with friends in English. This turns everyday tools into fluency boosters. Also, set small goals like, I will speak English for 10 minutes today, or I'll describe one photo in English. Small goals lead to big results. In some cases, it helps to adopt an English persona, a version of you who only speaks English. This might sound strange, but it works. Create a new version of yourself who is confident, expressive, and relaxed in English. Give that version a name, a personality. Step into that character every time you speak English. Over time, the gap between your real self and your English self disappears, and you become truly bilingual in thought and speech. Visualization is also a powerful tool. Before you speak, visualize yourself having a smooth conversation, using the words you want, smiling, connecting. Athletes use visualization to enhance performance. Language learners can do the same. See it in your mind, then speak it in reality. Finally, remember that fluency is not a finish line. It's a lifestyle. It's not something you one day complete. It's something you grow with. As you speak more, you'll discover parts of yourself in English that you never knew existed. Your thoughts become sharper, your emotions more precise, your voice more powerful. So don't just learn English, live it. Speak it into your day, your world, your identity. Let it be the bridge that connects you to new people, new ideas, and new opportunities. Speaking isn't the end of learning. It's the beginning of real communication. And that's where the magic truly begins. Now that you've journeyed through the mindset, methods, and motivation behind real spoken English, the next step is simple, but powerful. Start today. Don't wait for the perfect conditions or flawless grammar. Open your mouth, make a sound, and turn your thoughts into words. Whether you talk to yourself, record a story, or message a friend in English, take that first brave step. The only way to become a confident speaker is to speak. And remember, every single word you say is a seed. With daily practice, patience, and the right attitude, you'll watch those seeds grow into natural fluency. Mistakes are not setbacks. They're signs that you're moving forward. So here's your challenge. After this episode, take 5 minutes, just 5, and speak in English. Describe your day, share your dreams, or retell one idea from this podcast. You've got this. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with fellow English learners. Let's grow together, one word at a time.